Hi all, welcome back to the other side of the hill solo. This is my part 6, I think it is. I have just come straight back there after finishing the invasion of Denmark and Norway. So we're in the 1940 year, spring operations, and we're still in the Axis offensive phase. And we had two Axis pawns. One was in Denmark and Norway, and we've still got the one in Greece. We've done the one in Denmark and Norway. So now we're on to the invasion of Greece. And the objective here is to take Athens. Okay, so let's have a look here. So, Athens is the second one, but remember, this time we can advance the second one. So we're fighting into Salonika first. That's right, isn't it? We start at the lower number and go work our way up. Yeah, because that's where he is. Yeah, that's right. So we will be able to do the second advance with reduction. So, maybe I want to look at the guy that doesn't do the reduction then. Is he available down here? Now we're... Yeah, no, we're against the Western faction. I think that's all right. Right, and we've got our army now properly placed in Romania, Bulgaria. So, well, while we're there, let's get Von Reichenau out, because he is our army group head. And let's just see what his ability is. Yeah, so combat, we've got to be Western faction or Soviet faction, attacking into any terrain. The controlling player may reroll one of the die in the allied combat roll, and the new result must be applied. So, now my guess is I must have to do that, because the first step of the combat is to roll the allied... I was wondering, I wish I'd asked this question. I'm sure somebody's asked this question. Can you wait and see your own result before you re-roll this? I want to say the videos that I've watched have been doing that. In fact, some of the guys roll all the dice together, but it doesn't really say that in the rules. It says you roll the allied combat roll first, then you roll the Axis combat roll. But I'm just wondering, do I need to change it before I see the Axis result? So this is maybe something just to check on. So anyway, we're having the combat here. Now, when is it I need to decide on the paratroops? But I think it was in the steps here, wasn't it? Axis combat roll. Yeah, I mean, we just got an extra grey die. But I want to do that because, what was his name? SAS Ward had said in his comment on BGG that the success says, if paratroops have been used in the current operations phase, place an occupied marker in base C, Crete. So we definitely want to use this. And I think that's an automatic result. Well, no, sorry. I think we still need to succeed. Yeah, we still need to succeed. As long as we succeed, that's going to automatically take Crete. And you can see that Crete... I think this is the ability... This is the thing you want. You get a naval supply of +1 to help with, I think, some of the African... I think it's ones with the ports for tracing supply and whatever. I'm gonna see if I can find out this question that I've just got in my mind here. If I need to re-roll that die right away, or if I can wait and see the outcome of the Axis die roll. I'm sure somebody will have asked this. Or could it be clearer in the rules? I mean, I'm looking on the... Because step 3 is allied combat roll and step 4 is Axis combat roll. Well, it does reference 6.3. So allied combat roll. So, I mean, the very end, before there's a wee example there of allied combat roll on page 27, it says, remember that the combat rules of some German generals may affect allied die roll. I mean, I would think I've got to re-roll that before I then move on to the Axis combat roll. Let me see if anybody's asked it. Right, I couldn't seem to see. I didn't really spend that much time looking. I couldn't seem to see anybody asking for an object there. Right. Somebody haven't asked that question, so I popped a little question out there. I mean, it does. If you look at on the card, it does say the controlling player may re-roll one die in the allied combat roll. You know, it's highlighting that it's in that phase, that step. The new result must be applied. You know, I mean, I'm thinking it might be relevant. You know, to what. You know, if you knew what the axis roll was going to be. So, I went and asked the question anyway, but I don't expect to get anything immediately. So I'm going to play it. That I have to do it before I see what the axis combat roll is, because that's less. You know, I'm that's worse for me, and it's if I've got it wrong the other way, then I'll know from then on. But you know, I can take advantage of being able to see what the roll's going to be. Okay, so first step, we're going to draw a card, aren't we? So, yeah, actually, I should have done that first before looking at a general, because then that's when we deal with it. Yeah, in actual fact, they might not have any, no. John, yeah, they're surely always going to defend with, yeah, it's when they're attacking you might not have a combat grant. That's what it is, isn't it? They're always going to, on defence, they're always going to roll dice, yeah. Okay, maybe I was speaking a lot of rubbish there back then when I was looking at the cards, saying that we need to make sure it's going to be a combat. It's clearly going to be a combat because we're initiating it here, aren't we? Right, anyway, okay. Right, combat card, here we are. So, again, Western faction, they're only getting one this time. 1939-40, in defence, they're getting one dice. So, now we can activate our general. So, we know we've got to be, well, we can re-roll one. So, we'll see what it is and see if it's better. And then now we need to do a leading general. So, I was thinking this time the fact that we can advance the second. No. Yes, we can. We're attacking it there. We need to get to Athens. So maybe looking for that guy that was. I don't know if you can go down there or not. What was it? That's the additional die for Roth. So yeah, we could use him to stop the additional die they're going to get for the Roth, aren't they? So they're going to get one die. They're going to get two dice. But remember, we're getting to re-roll one of them. And we're coming in with 4 dice here. And the Southern Front air naval controls up at 5. So we're getting an extra white dice there as well. I mean, these are meant to be easy-ish at the beginning. So I'm maybe making it sound like, the start of the war, this is kind of what happened, wasn't it? Where's the one that removes the... I think it was Rommel, wasn't it? Maybe nobody will use them there then. Right, hang on until I find what I'm looking for here. No, it wasn't Rommel, it was Guderian. So can we use him down there? Yeah, it's an attack, Western faction, in any terrain. Do not apply the mandatory reduction if the head of army group decides to conduct a second advance after combat. So I think I should use him. We're getting to reroll 1 dice. They're getting 2 dice. Yeah, I think if they've got a 2 on the combat card and getting the extra dice 3, I might have wanted to mess more with hits. But the fact that they're only getting 2 dice and we get to reroll 1, and remember we're getting a guaranteed hit with that. Yeah, that's fine. It's pretty easy, this, isn't it? It's quite. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is really good. And once we've used them, that's it. What's his special? Inspector General of Armoured Troops. When dismissed or removed from play, add +2 prestige points to the controlling player. No, that doesn't affect us anyway. So I think that's a good one, because that means we're not going to have to reduce an army that, and just stroll into Athens. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be my leading general then, Heinz Guderian. Okay. So, what are we now? So now we're going to roll the allied dice. So they're getting 1, like we said. They're defending in rough. So they get another 1 for that. They're not getting the air naval control. Adjacent +1. No, there's no adjacency. Well, +1 there. So they're getting 2 dice. And we're going to get to re-roll 1 of them. So 2 blue dice. Here we go. Oh dear, that could be 2 hits. Well, right. So the attack is into Wrath. So that would be... Yeah, that would be 2 hits for them. So I was going to go back to the computer and have a look, see if somebody might have quickly answered my question, but it's clear that we would want to re-roll 1. Well, is it though? It's not, is it? Because if I roll my 5 dice and get 3 hits, then I don't want to re-roll 1 of them. Because I might end up with that, or I might end up with that, which both could be bad for me. This would reduce my air naval, and this could give me a combat card that might be bad. I dare say they might be good. Whereas if as long as I get 3 hits, I'm winning the battle anyway. So maybe I could do with knowing the answer. We're going to be rolling a black, 2 greys, a white and a yellow. Yeah, and we've nothing else to mess about with our dice because we've got that reduction. Yeah, I could do with knowing the answer before we move on here, but I think it's a bit optimistic to... Unless I could maybe take a break now, maybe. And just see. It might be worthwhile doing it because it is possible I could get back a surprising answer to this. I mean, I think the answer should be that I need to re-roll it now. That's the way I'm sort of picking it up. But I'm pretty sure if you watch other folks' playthroughs that they might have rolled the other dice first before deciding about a re-roll. Now, whether that means they're right or not, I don't know, but it could well be that you can do it whenever, you know? I don't know. So, let me pause and, I'll go and have a look. If I get the answer right now, I'll just come straight back. If not, I will take a break. Be as well. Yeah, okay, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so I did get a quick answer, so I will keep going a little bit. That way I can then upload the videos while I'm going to go and take a break. That was quite an interesting answer from the designer, who said, you know, my question is, do we need to re-roll this now? His answer was technically yes. So, but he says generally doesn't make a difference, and it's normally the case where whether you would just roll all the dice at once, then do the re-rolls. Which, okay, fair enough. I mean, he did start with technically yes, though, but I think it matters here. I think it matters. Now, I've not drawn a combat event card yet, or did we? I think we did in the first year. We're not drawing one in the 1940s. But, I mean, this could be good or bad, I think. And then, but this would reduce our Western... no, not the Western one, sorry. The air naval control in the Southern Front by 1. So if I re-roll 1 of them and get that, you know, what I mean is, let's just say that I've rolled all my dice and I know I've got 3 hits, and then I don't want to re-roll them because I don't want to risk getting one of them or one of them. But if I don't know right now what I'm rolling, I might want to re-roll one of them because they're sitting with 2 hits at the moment. So I think it matters quite a bit. But the fact he said technically yes, I should have to do it now. I'm going to have to do it now. So let me just have a look and just work out. I'll look at the dice a little bit, I think. We are getting a white and a yellow though. I dare say somebody's probably the percentages. Well, there's 2 hits on the yellow. So what's that? A third of a chance a hit, and there's an event. There's 2 hits. So there's a third of a chance. The others are blank apart from that. So 2/3 a chance of that, and 1/6 of a chance of that. 1 in 6. Yeah? Is that right? I'm not very good when it comes to all this stuff. Right, the white dice is 2 hits as well. Well, actually, no, that counts as a hit. So you've got 50-50. Or you've got a 1 in 6 chance of an event. And then the grey one is a hit, a hit, a hit, a hit. Oh, a hit. Oh, right. The grey one, you've got a 1 in 6 chance of not getting a hit, haven't you? Sorry, is that... Yeah. 5 out of 6 times you're going to get a hit. And then black one's guaranteed. So I'm rolling 2 of the grey ones. See, I still think it could be a bit risky, this. I don't want to fail this. And failing is getting the same. Equal is bad, isn't it? I'm saying equal's a defeat, I think. Or is it just no effect? No, hang on. Yeah, Axis hits are less than or equal to Allied hits, no advance, and 1 reduction. You know, you get a reduction, and they've got to flip your leading general questioned. So, I mean, this is kind of important. I mean, likelihood, and my cards, my generals aren't going to help in this. Well, this is the one I'm deciding, and the general could help by re-rolling one of them. Now, did they have any blanks? No. Yeah, that's a point. The blue dice has, so that's a hit, that's a hit, that's a hit. I think they've got 3 hits and 2 aircraft and an event. So I mean, we've probably got enough, but no, Grant, you need 3 hits here. You need 3 hits, and the white dice and the yellow dice could easily not. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it, but I think I do need to re-roll one of these. I feel like I should. Yeah, okay, I'm going to re-roll one of these, so we'll keep that hit for them. And I'm going to re-roll this. Well, there you go. So we are going to now, we've got to take this result, so we are going to get a combat event. So this could end up being worse. That's why I think it is important there to decide. So that's an allied combat roll. So now I think we have our combat roll. I moved that. Wait, stop. Well, I've not done it yet. Oh, but I wouldn't have re-rolled that. I wonder if I can allow myself to take back there. We're getting an extra grey dice, aren't we? We're going to use the paratroopers. You know what? I've done it now. Okay, hang on, I want to see what step we're at. So that was Allied Combat roll. So I'm just going to take that re-roll, fair enough. We don't do the event resolution yet. We do the Axis Combat roll. It definitely has them in 2 different steps. And I know what he's saying about it's quicker to just roll all the dice at first. But, I mean, that to me is relevant, that rule just there. You know? But maybe I'm, again, too fussy and too picky. So, well, let's dig into this parachutes bit then. I mean, I've not made a mistake there, because now we decide about it. So, Axis Combat roll, we're getting a black, 2 greys, a yellow, right? Black, 2 greys and a yellow. And then this attack is in the southern front, and the southern front is this. Now, oh, no, another reason. Yeah. See, if this had turned up to be a plane, this would have got reduced before I roll my dice, and I wouldn't have got that white dice. Even more important to know that needs to be done in that order then. Surely. In fact, that was risky of me, because if we had turned up the aircraft, then we would have lost. That would have dropped. No, hang on. Well, would that have happened right away? No, I don't think it does. I don't think the results happen right away, do they? Because we're not resolving this event right now. So if this was an aircraft, I don't think we'd resolve that right now. No, I think because the next step is. Yeah, no, that's right. Fair enough. If that was that doesn't matter. That wouldn't have affected it right away. But I think it was relevant to how I was speaking about it. Okay, so we've got, and we're adding the white dice for the air naval. So we've got a black, 2 greys, a yellow and a white. However, we've also going to add, right, if the axis is an attacker, this is on page 27, and I suppose I might, it's quite tight getting everything in here, but that's a strange angle, I know. If the axis is, we're down here, if the axis is an attacker, and the current season is not winter, it's spring, the head of operations may choose to use paratroops, provided that the parachute marker is on its track in the force pool. Well, it is. I'll come around to that in a second. If he decides to use paratroops, add 1 grey combat die to the Axis combat roll. Right, so I'm going to get another grey dice to our pool of dice. We've got 6 dice now. That's why I was thinking I probably wouldn't have re-rolled that now, because surely out of the 6 we're going to get 3. However, I've done it now, and it's a combat card rather than the airplane one, so I'm quite glad that it wasn't the aircraft one, reducing my air naval control. So, and then the head operations roll. Right. Once we've done that, then the head of operations rolls 1d6. If the result is higher than the number of the box where the parachute marker is, remove the marker from the game. So you might only get 1 use of this. If the result is lower than the number of the box where the parachute's marker is, move it to the next lower space in its track. And the third one is the one that you'd really like to get, because if the result equals the number of the box where the parachute marker is, it remains in place. And then after determining the number and type of dice for the Axis die roll, the player that rolled the Axis. Yeah, no, that's just going back to the combat. Yeah, okay. So I'll show you this paratroops bit. So we've chosen to play the paratroops because it's on the track. There it is. It's in the box with the 5. Okay, so we get an extra grey dice. So now we've got to roll the dice, and we want lower than a 5. Well, ideally a 5, because if a 5, it just stays where it is. If we get lower than a 5, it's going to drop down to there, you can see, and then it's going to be harder. But you're still going to get another use of it. If we happen to get a 6, though, it's a one-off, and that's it away. But we've still got the dice for this combat, no matter what, right? So we're going to roll the d6 and hope for a 5 or less. We've got a 3, haven't we? Yeah, okay. So it doesn't go away, but it drops down. Okay, that's cool. Right, so now we're going to roll our 6 dice. Nothing missing there then. A black, 2 greys, well, 3 greys because the paratroops, 1 yellow, 1 white for the thing. He was defending and rough. We accounted for that though, yeah? Yeah, because he only had 1 dice, yeah. So we're getting 6 dice here. And he's only got 1 hit, so we need 2 hits. Right, yeah, okay. So we've got plenty, haven't we? Then, yeah, we would have got the 3. And like I say, I think I would have took the gamble if knowing I was getting that extra grey dice. That's why I was going to maybe rewind it, but that would have been a bit cheeky. I'd already rolled. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits to his 1 hit. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, the gun counts as a hit as well. Yeah, it's 1 hit or it's 2 hits if they're defending and they've got that assault guns. Well, we've not done the assault guns. And the tanks, 2 hits if planes. If it's not, it's just 1 hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, so we're successful. Which is good. So now we what do we do? Well, I think now we do the combat event resolution before we actually carry out the... yeah. Step 5 is event resolution. Step 6 is implementation of the combat results. So we're actually now going to look at the 6.5. 6.5. Where is it? Combat event resolution. Resolve one. Draw and resolve one combat event card per that result. So, like I say, I wouldn't have rolled that, but we've done it now. So let's do a combat event. So we've got one of the blue ones. So airstrike in Taranto. If Italy is neutral, this goes in the bottom of the deck, I think that is. Italy is not neutral. So air naval control value in the southern front -2. See? I didn't want this. But then, the fact this is blue, it's going to happen. Even if you get to the end of the year and that's still in the deck, you still have to cycle through these. And if they're in the blue colour, you still have to do them anyway. So, yeah. So air naval control value in the southern front -2. And then that card, then nothing else says it, so it just gets discarded after that. Combat card. So yeah, that goes down to 3 now. But that's happened after we were able to still get our dice there and whatever. And then we deal with the results. We've got more hits than him, easily. So we are winning, so we get to advance. So we're advancing from Bucharest. No, that stays there. We get a new counter for this one because it's going into a different area. So, and that goes into there, Salonika, and that gets moved to Athens. So we're now in Salonika. I want to say that this is then going to be disputed. Okay. Alright, that's not going to happen till the success. Right, okay. And then we now have the choice. If it's into plains or river, and it's into plains, and there's no landing marker, there's not, I can advance again and take a reduction. However, with our General Heinz Guderian, do not apply the mandatory reduction if the head of the army group decides to conduct a second advance after combat. So yes, we're going to conduct a second advance into Athens, take Athens, knocks that out. I want to say that now becomes controlled. I'm just sort of going to go with my gut on this, I think. Which it seems like this is what's happening. This has now become occupied. Now we have to also, and in fact that's when we attacked, when we went into there, I think this would have had to happen, but we were still going to do that anyway. I think we would have to now also move at least one of these armies in. I'm going to take that away because that's going to be us done. Does it talk about that in this? I don't think it will, probably not. Right, let me advance. Yeah, if the Allied control disk was in the 1 sector, place a new Allied Axis control disk. We've done that at first, because it was in the 1 sector. Do not move the Axis control disk from an adjacent area, so that one stays where it is. We then flip that over to disputed, which we did at first. And then, if the Allied control disk was in the highest numbered sector, which is what we're now doing, when we advance the second one, then we remove it from the map and we replace the disputed marker with a control marker. Occupied marker, sorry. Yeah. Okay. And then it also says if the area has a resource symbol, add 1 in resources. It does not. However, it says, where does it talk about the armies? Yeah. So when we first moved in there and made it disputed, on the first advance, the head of operations may move all the armies that participate in combat into the combat area without exceeding stacking limits. When you see the stacking limits for this are 3 and we've got 4 armies, so we can't move them all in. It says, it follows up though, it's not obligatory to move all involved armies, but at least one army must be moved to the combat area. And then it reminds you of the partisan restriction, because we occupy this, and this, oh, it's not a partisan one. Okay, so we don't need to leave an army in there at all. However, we can move them all in. So, I mean, I suppose we're moving all three of these in, aren't we? Mind you, when we control this, then that's going to... we might actually want to move the satellite army in it. I mean, because I don't know, where are we going next? Yeah, I think I'm going to advance the Panzer army, the regular army, and the satellite army. Which still means we've got 2 German armies, and then he's going to come as well. Means you're not going to have. Well, to be honest, I can't have 2 and 2 anyway of German armies. So he comes as well. Okay, I think that's fine. Yeah. So we're left 1 army behind, and yeah, my thinking is that I'll be wanting to move these somewhere else, and I'll have to leave 1 army behind, and we can leave that satellite army in there. Okay, good. Right, so that was that combat done. We can get rid of the dice, and those grey ones. And then we can get rid of this combat card. We can Walter von Reichenau was our army group head. He's still our army group head, but he's in Greece now, so he's still in command. And then the other general that we use, Guderian, unfortunately, he's really quite good, isn't he? He's been activated, so that's our one shot at him for the year. Unless there's something special that might bring them back. I think there's maybe some events that might bring these guys back. And the other thing is, remember, like I say, you can maybe bring him in and get him into one of the AG heads. Once the numbers go down a bit, though, that's the thing. It's the seniority bit. It's the problem there. Okay, that's our Axis offensive, I think. So let's just push on, voila. Yeah. Right, yeah, I'm gonna push on a bit. So that was Axis offensive. We're now moving on to the next phase, which is a Western offensive. Right, I need to get back my cards to the right bit, which is a bit of a pain. We're in the operations phase, Western offensive. There we go. Landings. All right, okay. So that, yeah, the first step was landings, but there is not a landings marker in the box. Yeah, again, it's not coming until 1942, so there's no landings. Put a combat pawn. So where are we getting one this time then? Has anything changed now with the fact we've taken Greece and... Well, Denmark and Norway are still disputed. Yeah, well, disputed matters, doesn't it? So... we want to place a pawn anywhere that contains a disputed marker and a Western control disk. So that's got a disputed marker and a Western control disk. And that is still like that just now, because we're not going to resolve our military directive, which was to take Oslo, and then we occupy Denmark, Norway. But we can't do that until after we've completed the offensives, so they are going to get a possible attack back at us here. And then there's another one here in southern France. Move them down a bit so I can get that in. Which there is a disputed marker and a Western controlled disk. So that's only the 2 disputed areas, but the other way of putting a pawn is that an axis controlled and adjacent to a Western controlled area. So Is this adjacent to a Western controlled area? No, it is not. And the Italian ones, no. Yeah, because they've come about, haven't they? So, I mean, this is Axis control, but it's not adjacent to a Western controlled area, and neither is that adjacent to a Western controlled area. Oh, hold on. Libya might be. Libya is. So, this is Axis controlled and adjacent to a Western controlled area. And I think that +1 comes into this. Yuck. Well, we didn't. This is just the Italians, isn't it? I mean, right, I think there's one going on there then as well. In fact, they're adjacent to 2 Western controlled areas. Libya, Egypt and Northern Africa. Okay. So now hang on. No? There's no Western offensive marker, is there? Nah. And either of them, so yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I think this is going to happen. So you determine the order of combat to resolve land combat. I'm not sure if it matters or not. I suppose there is a chance of one of these combats, this getting knocked down one after one of the combats in here or here. So I think that's something I think off the top of my head. There might be other things to think about. So what's the more important one of the two, maybe to resolve first to get the extra die roll? If assuming, I don't know, they're maybe not going to attack still. It's maybe just going to be an event. Well, let's just go for Denmark Norway. I don't think it really matters. So we'll do Denmark Norway first. So it's telling me there about draw and reveal combat cards again. Well, let's just go to the cards. It's just a bit annoying. I've got to flick through things. Right, so draw 1 combat card. Yeah, because this might not turn into combat, because this is them attacking this time. So, combat card. Here we go. So, we've got attack. Oh, they are attacking this time. So, it's 1940. So, we've got an aircraft symbol and a 1. So, this is going to be a combat here. Okay, wasn't expecting that. So, right. So an aircraft, do we do that first? Well, there's going to be an attack, so we need to assign our generals. So we've got von Bock. Is it Bock? So we need him. Von Bock, right? And remember, we're defending this time, so, this might not. So that's von Bock. So you can see that his combat ability. Oh, right. Yeah, I need to watch his specials down the bottom there. He wasn't able to though, was he? After a victory in a combat with the Axis as an attacker, a second advance must be conducted if the terrain allows it. Well, it didn't allow it. It didn't allow it. So, but I need to watch that. Maybe I didn't take note of that, did I? Right, but you can see his combat ability for the AG ahead. It's fine against. It can be against the Western faction, but it needs to be attacking into any terrain. So he's not going to give anything, but we'll bring him out anyway. And now we've got to select a leading general for the combat. So let me have a look at that. Okay, so I think my choice, well, to get a benefit, I think I want to try and get one. I've got 2. I've got Karl Heinrich von Stuttnagel. Right, as you can see, he can be against Western faction, and he can be attacking or defending in any terrain. So cancel 1, aircraft result and allied combat roll. That's all he's going to do. Special conspirator. When dismissed or removed from play, add +1 to the unrest value. Yeah, okay, so that's bad. So this happens, he's going to cancel an air result. We've got, what's that? Ewald von Kleist. He can be used against either faction and attacking into rough or defending in any terrain. Add +1 hit to the Axis combat roll for every black die that is rolled. Oh yeah, well he's pretty good. Yeah, I just feel like we might want to use him more on the offensive though. I mean, I don't need to use any of them. I could use somebody else, but I don't know. Oh, let's just use what's his name, Karl Heinrich von Stucknagel or whatever, to cancel one of the air hits. How many die are they going to get? Going to get 1 for the, because they're attacking, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get 1 for defending and rough as well. And we're getting this one. Yeah, we'd be fine. Yeah, I'll use him, because I wouldn't mind cancelling if they do get an aircraft result. You know, although they're not just getting 1 dice and that's it. Well, they're rolling an aircraft symbol first anyway, so we might actually lose that. Oh, hang on. It's in the allied combat roll, so... there's another question then. So can this guy cancel the aircraft result from the special event, the special effect? I think maybe not. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying there, but we've got to resolve a special effect first. So, and the special effect on the combat card was one aircraft symbol. So we've got to roll the indicated number of Western dice if at least one right, so we're going to roll 1 dice, and if one of these turns up, if at least one of these comes up, with an air naval control in the combat's front, it gets reduced by 1. Can I use his special ability to cancel that, or does it need to? See, no, because that's not the allied. Well, it is. It's part of the allied combat roll, I think. But these are separate things. I'm going to roll this first. I'm not sure they are then. Maybe that's another question. Well, let's see what we get. So we're going to roll for the special effect. So we roll 1. There's just 1 aircraft. You can see if it's down here, it would be 3 of these dice we'd be rolling. But the only effect is if one of these come up, you knock it down by 1. You don't. If 3 of them came up, it's still just going to knock down by 1. I think if at least 1 is rolled, -1 air naval control on the combat's front. Yeah, okay. But this is a separate roll from the actual combat. Although on these cards here it says allied combat roll. I wonder if maybe I should look at the rule book here just in case. Yeah, 6.3, page 27, allied combat roll. The result in the combat card may include a special effect which must be resolved before the allied combat roll. See, so that's maybe not part of the allied combat roll. Right, we'll roll this, see what happens. Right, we've not got an aircraft, so nothing happens. I'm maybe going to ask that question. Because if that had been an aircraft, could I have used him to cancel it there? I think no, but who knows? So now we've resolved the special effect. So now we're going to do the allied combat roll, which was 1 on the card, so that's 1 dice. And then they would get +2 if defending fortress, +1 if defending rough terrain. Well, they're attacking. +1 if their naval control marker was down at 1. It's not, it's up at 5. And +1 for adjacent. No. +1 for any adjacent allied control area connected with a +1 symbol. Well, there's not. So they're only getting the 1 dice. Right. So there we go. And they get a hat. Okay, so they've got 1 hat. And we are now going to roll 2 black, 1 white. 2 black and 1 white for the armies, but we've got air naval control at 5, so we get a +1 for that. And we're defending in rough. So we get another white dice for that. So we've got 5 dice. 2 black and 3 white. Yeah. And you could use paratroops, but I'm not going to use paratroops here. So I've got 1 hit to beat. Although we're defending here, so again, you want above the hits. Drawing with them's not good. So right, here we go. Right, so it's in rough, but that's 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits. They still count on defence, don't they? Yeah. It's still 1 hit. It would be 2 in defence if we had that special thing. So we got 4 to their 1. So we're fine. There was no events, so that was good actually. There was no events. So Axis. No, hang on. We're the defender this time. Yeah, we're the defender. So Axis hits were greater than Allied hits. So no retreat or reduction. Nothing happens. Right, so only bad things happen if we go equal or less than them. And I think that's it. So that's that combat done. Oops, well, that was messy. So that combat done. Yeah, nothing. These don't change, obviously. Right, and then so Fedor von Bock can go back, sleep for a bit. Well, back in his in command box, and then but that was another general used. So that's why you maybe see there. Did I really need? Well, he was going to cancel one of them. Maybe I want to ask that question there. Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to leave him lying out there. Hopefully, I remember just to go and ask this before. Yeah, and I'm just going to wrap this up shortly as well, because we're getting closing in on an hour again soon. And then that was a combat card done. Oh, we've got 2 more to go though, haven't we? We've got 2 more combats to go. Right, well we still got the 5 air naval control. So let's resolve this one in southern France. So again, we draw a combat card first. Is that right? Yeah, we draw a combat card just in case, because they might not attack. Looking at 1940. Oh, right, it's kicking off now. Right, so we've got an aircraft and 2 dice this time. So that's going to be the attack here. Okay, so next step is us to get our generals. Von Leeb in southern France. Let's see what he's doing. Again, he's attacking it. They're only beneficial in the attack. What is his special? I need to watch them, read them. When dismissed or removed from play, see that doesn't affect us. That. But his combat ability is not any good because we're not on the attack. So, however, we'll put him aside. And then now we need to select another leading general. So give me a second. Okay, I've only got 2 again. We've got this guy again, which is defense in any. So add +1 hit to the Axis combat roll for every black die that is rolled. Well, you can see we've not got black there, so he's not going to help there. I mean, we are rolling 4 dice. Well, they're rolling 2 this time. We're still going to get the air naval control, unless, of course, that aircraft result knocks it out. Now, this is another guy. It's against Western faction defending in river, and we are defending in river here. So it says roll 1 grey die instead of 1 white die, and that's his combat roll. Yeah, maybe. Defending in river. So are we going to really get more use of him throughout the year? I don't know. As you play the game, you might find that he's more important later on. Well, let's just use him now. So Johannes Blaskowitz, I'm going to go with. Well, he's special, honourable, when dismissed. Yeah, it's all about prestige points, isn't it? So we'll use him. So remember, it's a slight change to the die roll for us. And Right, so we've got one aircraft to roll as a special effect. So kind of hoping this is not an aircraft because that will knock one of our dice out. So here we go. It's not. It's a hit. That does nothing then. Roll indicated if at least one aircraft roll. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so that it needed to be the aircraft result. So now Allied combat roll, they're rolling 2 for the combat card. And they're not getting air naval control. Have they got anybody adjacent? I don't think there is a +1 there, but there's a +1 here. But it says +1 for an adjacent Allied controlled area connected with a +1 symbol. So if this was Allied controlled, I think they would get an extra dice. You can see all the other connections. I mean, this is Allied controlled, but there's not a +1 there. Well, that's actually neutral. There's not a +1 there either. So they're only getting the 2 dice, I think. So let's do that now. We're not messing with our dice, are we? No, it's going to alter one of our dice. So let's see what they get. Right, so now we have the aircraft result and a hat. But that doesn't get checked just yet. So we don't get, that doesn't knock it down just yet. So now we do the Axis combat roll. Sorry, swinging about there a bit. Should really pause there. I'm just trying to move on. So we would normally be grey, 2 white, and a yellow. However, Johannes Baskovitz, we roll 1 grey dice instead of 1 white in the Axis combat roll. So I'm going to replace one of the whites for a grey. So it's 2 grey, a white, and a yellow. And we still have, at the moment anyway, it's still our air naval control is at 5. Yeah, so we got an extra white dice for that. We're not defending rough, we're defending river, so we're not getting extra for that. We don't want to use paratroops. So we've got 5 dice here. They only got 1 hat. So we need 2 hats. Sorry, I'm just saying I should pause that and I'm just throwing it. Because it is a wee bit annoying when I watch back on that and see it swinging about. But, yeah. Anyway. I'll try and be better as things move on. Right, yeah, I just want to get this wrapped up. So 5 dice, 2 grey, 3 white. No, 2 grey, 2 white and a yellow. And we need 2 hats. Okay, we got 1, 2 hats, 2 blanks, and we've got an event. Okay. So, that's the results. They're the attacker, we are the defender. Basically, I can chuck the 2 away, can't I? They're not doing anything. So, apply the results. So, this would subtract 1 for the air naval control value in the combat's front. So, that knocks that down to 4. And then, well, that's all that's going to do. And then we've got 2 hits to their 1 hit, so we're winning. However, I think we need to resolve. Do we need to resolve this now? No. It's after, isn't it? Yeah. It's, well, no, we're not applying these. What's this? Apply results to combat roll. Yeah, so we've applied the aircraft. We've applied the results. The results are 2. We've got 2 hits. He's got 1 hit. We then resolve the event, which is draw a combat event card. So we're going to do that now. And we get Britain attacks the French fleet in Mer El Kebir. It's not one of the blue ones. So if the status of France is not Vichy, this is going to go on the bottom of the deck. Well, the status of France is not Vichy, is it? What's it going to do? Roll 1 Western die if the result is aircraft or hat air naval control value in the southern front -1. With any other result, +1. Okay. But if the status of France is not Vichy, then it's that. And that is, it doesn't tell me here. It definitely has put the event down the bottom, I think. 7 events. Yeah. If the condition is met, and it is, because the status of France is not Vichy, Ignore the recurring and unique events on the card. Place a card at the bottom of its deck and do not draw another event to replace it. So it goes down the bottom of the combat deck. And we might see it again, we might not. Okay. That's the event done. Now we resolve the combat. Axis is Defender. We had more hits than them, so nothing happens. Nothing more happens. It's not... doesn't do anything to the allies there either, so we just need to survive it. Okay, that's that one. We've got one more to go. Right, let's just push on then. Right, this is in Libya. Now, this +1 is going to come into effect here, isn't it? And we've only got a satellite army. So this one might go wrong, I think, is the chat. I mean, I don't think we had time to move armies though, did we? Oh, maybe we did. Because this would have been activated... no, it wasn't. Yeah, it would have been activated in the political... That's when we'd done diplomacy Italy, Grant, didn't we? So that was in the diplomatic... the political directive step. So there was movement. We could have brought some armies down here. I just left that. Well, actually, could I have brought armies? Yeah. Well, they would have had to come from the southern front. See, I'm thinking there's no connection. The connection's here and the connection's there, but I could still have brought... It doesn't need to be connected, I don't believe. Well, anyway, we didn't do it, right? We didn't do it. So let's draw a combat card for here. That might not be an attack. We've had 2 attacks. Oh, there you go. There you go. We got lucky. I think it's lucky. So 1940 on the attack, they're just going to draw a strategic event. I'll leave that there just now because I've realised I've not tidied up from the last one. So that was a combat card for the last combat. Goes away. Von Lieb goes back in command, and this guy goes to... what was activated. So, right, and then we've got that, so we don't need to set up generals this time. We're just going to draw a strategic event, which we will do now. So we've got a recurring event of the USA moving up. Convoys. If the strategic warfare value is 0, this card goes down the bottom. The strategic warfare value is 2, so it's not. So we're going to do the recurring event, which is the USA move 1 Lend-Lease Act. Move up 1 more, and the card event is strategic warfare value -1, and then this card then just gets discarded. So that was not so good. So that's now down to 1 as well. So that's only 1 grey dice we're going to get to roll. And that's it. Well, what have we got? A strategic... Oh no, we've got the replacements down at 0. So there you go. Yeah, that's what I was saying. We couldn't move it up any, so why bother having it set at 1? But there you go. That's what can happen. Right. So that was all done. That was the only thing with that combat. So it's not an actual combat. This then goes away. So yeah, we do need to do something about this. Maybe defend it a bit. Okay. That's the the Western Offensive segment. Soviet Offensive segment, there's not one. Can I just skip? I can, surely. There's only the what is it? The military directives, which are going to be something. Soviet Offensive. Right. So military directives check. That's where we're at, eh? So we've got 2 of them, and they're both succeeding. So if there's an active military objective card, check if its objectives have been achieved. This one, no, actually I'm going to do the Greece one first, because I think the Norway one's slightly more, maybe slightly more involved, I think. So, did we conquer Athens? We did. So, if paratroops have been used in the current operations phase, place an occupied marker in base C, Crete. And then these additions are just points for if you're playing the competitive game. So, yeah, okay. So yeah, we've taken Greece. So nothing changes in there. We get an occupied marker in here because we use paratroops. Yeah, so that comes out. And we have occupied Crete. So that's good. And that's it, I think. That's it. So that can come off, and then that's that card done for the game, I believe. Okay, and then the other one is Denmark and Norway. So Oslo, we achieved Oslo, but things need to be done now. So it says Denmark/Norway occupied 4.7.1a. 4.7.1 military objective check. If all objectives have been achieved, apply the effects in the success box. Yeah. So these are the effects of success on a multi-directive card. Yeah, and this is A. Yeah, okay. So remove the ally control. Right, let's just go up here. So we succeeded here. So what it says is we're going to remove the ally control disk. Remove the ally control disk. This is on page 22. It's 4.7.1a. And alignment marker. Right, so that goes away as well. And then we move the axis control disk in the area to the highest number sector if not already there. Well, it wasn't already there, so we go into Norvik. And then we place an occupied alignment marker in the area's alignment box if not already there. So that's that. And if the area has a resource symbol, add 1 to resources. Well, it does this time. So we're going to get 1 to resources, which is really good. So it's up to 11. So that'll be needed. And that's it. So nothing else changes there, I don't think. Okay. And I'm just wondering about... Things haven't moved. Yeah, well, the only armies that moved were these moved into Greece, but I brought the general with them. So I don't think there's any sort of illegal general placements. Or vacancies for that matter. But I think you check for vacancies when the time in the command step anyway. Right, I think that's that done, so we can remove that, and yeah, that's all that's on that card. So that was that resolved. Right, then just finishing things up here. We would then move to the supply check. Maybe I do need to look at that then, because I'm not 100% sure how this works. So we've got... like here, so supply. Well, it's on this. That's on that page, Grant. Supply check. Oh, look at the card. Right, it says roll 1d6 for each axis-controlled area with a port box and apply all modifiers. So this does have a port box. It's open at the moment, so it's open when you take it. So this naval supply. The fact we just took Crete says a +1 supply, so that might help. So it says we're rolling 1d6 here. As this plus Southern Front Air Naval Control. Oh, that got knocked down, didn't it? That's a bugger. It got knocked down to 3. So if this had been up at 5, we would have got a +5. We're getting a +3 to this. +1 for each axis control base. Well, we've got 1. So that's a +1. +2 if Egypt is axis controlled. Egypt is not axis controlled. -4 if Southern Italy is not axis controlled. Well, fortunately we do control Southern Italy. And then if it's Great Britain, no. If the modified result is 7 or more, the port is open, otherwise the port is closed. Right, so we're getting a +3 and then +1 for Crete. So we're getting a +4, so we need a 3, don't we? We need the 3 or better here. Come on. Oh, no. I really kind of wanted that to resolve, because now I don't know what happened. Well, it says the port is closed. I think does that mean we're isolated or something now? So this port is closed. Flip it to its closed side. Right, I'm not sure. Right, that's all it says. Flip it to its closed side. Or does that mean... No. Then check whether all areas with an access control disk are supplied. Oh, I see, okay. So now we're going to check an area supplied if it has land supply or naval supply. Well, what's this marker here for then? Or does this get flipped to isolated? I think it does. Right. Yeah, I think that's going to get flipped over, isn't it? So we're now checking for... Well, we can check all the other areas for supply. I'm pretty sure everything else is okay. They can all connect. There's not any issues with them, is there? They all connect to one of the Festung. I mean, that's got a Festung one, isn't it? So it's that, isn't it? So they're okay. And the ones up there are fine. It's just, yeah, it's just us, isn't it? I think it's just us. So, and we can't trace land supply from this because that's Western controlled and that's Western controlled, either side of us. So that's only two adjacent places we could try and go. So we need to be able to trace naval supply. And the fact the port's shut tells me that that's going to flip to isolated. An area has land supply if it continues... Yeah, okay. An area has naval supply if there's an open port marker or a continuous string of adjacent areas controlled by the axis can be established to an area with an open port marker. Well, we can't do that. Place a naval supply marker in the Army's boats in any areas that only have naval supply. Place an isolated marker in the Army's boats of any areas without land or naval supply. So... And then it references 6.4, so that's going to be isolated. Remove isolated marker from areas that are now found to be able to trace supply. Well, that's not the case. So 6.4, is that when we come to... Yeah, it's when we use the armies, and I think we can't move, can we move armies into there? I don't think we can't reinforce. Yeah, it's not good. But anyway, that's what it is. Right, I think that's all that happens there though. And then we check for victory. Well, no, I don't know. Can we just win somehow? I can't remember. Is it not all about going right to the end? I think it is. I mean, we can lose if this happens, the collapse of Germany, but no, we're not that bad. Right, so now we're going to move on. So we're going to move on to the summer now, administrative phase, and move the phase marker along there. We're still in 1940 summer. So administrative, and remember this time we get two sets of operations phases in the summer. Okay. Right, I should leave it at that. Get the battery charged up. There is a chance of me maybe getting another little bit in, but that might be a bit optimistic. Maybe we shall see though. But I've got another couple of bits done there though, and we're moving on a little bit. Okay, I'll be back when I'm back. Cheers.